Okay, we're analyzing movies. We're going to show some of these scenes in a few minutes, and I would say that automation could never replace a panel like that.
Never, never.
Automation is creeping in, you know, everything's going to be...
Never replace people. It's good servants. That's all that's
Heather,
for.
Haven, and
Right.
Barney Martin, and Wasteman, and Fox, and Art Ross, and a young lady. Come a little closer, Gwen. Peter Kopany is the author of...
Fire of Flowers.
And he told me there's a lady who comes so alive on that stage. At which theater is it, Gwen?
The Provincetown Theater at 133 McDougal Street.
Gwen Sumpter. Gwen, like all good interviewers would begin, how did you happen to devote your life to show business? And let's go down memory lane that way, okay?
Well, I was at Brooklyn College for psychology, and I didn't think that was for me. And since I had such a great voice, and I was interested in acting, I figured I'd go on my road. And I went to Lee Strasberg, then I left there to go to the Afro-American studio to see what connections, there was between the two. And I found that they were basically the same. There's no difference there between the black and white, Then I left there to go to Voices Incorporated, professional theatrical touring company. And we went all over the country. It's also an educational teaching group. We worked with kids in all the different schools. And from there, I worked with Pete, I think a year before that, but I worked with him 3 times,
Peter Kopany.
Peter Kopany, yes. First American It's People, then Street Songs, and now Fire Flowers.
Pretty face for TV commercials, Barney?
Yes, I'll say.
And she's done a lot for a kid. I mean, we were talking earlier.
For a kid? She's only 17?
No, but she talks about, first of all, when she started with Lee Strasberg and then deliberately went back to the Afro-American just to see what the difference was between the blacks and the whites, and found there was none. I'm so glad, because we had been talking earlier about the different cultures and talk about films. Right. I checked out a film about the Japanese mime, and it was a comedy, and found that I hooted and howled and carried on like a loon because it was just mime done comedy, this old man and this whole kind of thing. And the interesting thing was that there is no difference between all of us, all the people throughout the world, because if an Eastern culture like the Japanese that you can understand through the film and through the gift of mime and still laugh or cry or whatever.
That's what Gwen just said, right?
Yes, it was fascinating. It was wonderful, and this is the discovery.
Maxine, true?
No, I think Danny Kaye proved that a while ago with his UNICEF touring. Laughter and song and smiling is the same all over the world in any language.
Oh yeah, we all had the same basic emotions.
Right. But silent movies are the greatest because you don't need any language for silent.
I think that one thing about Gwen, right?
Yes.
One thing that's wonderful to hear as you speak is letting people know the preparation and the work that that you're putting into your acting career and how it's now paying off. Because a lot of people, young people who come into New York who would like to have a career in the theater, don't understand the importance of getting experience and of preparing and of taking advantage of every opportunity.
And
I
the
take
commitment.
it very seriously, because I know that I do have a great talent and I want to make it, so to speak.
I like somebody. A lot of people saying she's immodest, but I say if you got it, flaunt it. And she's
that's confidence.
That's the second time in 3 minutes you said that you're great, and I think that's great.
I wasn't always like this. It's just come with me wanting to be an actress and wanting to make it out there where I realized that there are a lot more people with the same amount of talent.
Was anybody else in your class that was great besides yourself, or who became famous besides yourself?
No, I'm the only one that's become great.
I want to tell you one fast thing because I wanted to turn it back to my panel. I met a lady who was in a movie called Black Orpheus, Marpessa Dawn. Remember the movie Black Orpheus?
Yes.
And she was in that school, Lee Strasberg School, with Marilyn Monroe. But this was after Marilyn Monroe was the biggest star in movies. She was #1, but she decided it was time to go to dramatic school. Remember the time when she came?
Yes.
She was in that school, and you know how they rehearse scenes with the kids after school? And she'd call up her co-star, this girl Marpessa, and she'd say, "Hello, I'm Marilyn, the girl who's in your class." There she was, the #1 star in the movies, but when she called up, somebody said, "I'm Marilyn, the girl in your class."
She had to remind her who she was. Yeah, right.
Some kind of an insight into Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
It is, yes.
It's an amazing... how would you interpret that? It's interesting, isn't it? I mean,
Well, she's just being Marilyn, you know.
Not the big star.
Right. When she's on screen, she's someone. She has to be someone else. But this is the way she is.
I think there's an awful lot of great talent in this business that have never come to the top for the simple reason they feel as though they can't think well of themselves, even though they know that they have a talent, they can't impress upon anybody, and they keep going into the offices with their hat in their hand, hoping that somebody will recognize it. But where money is such a big item and everything depends upon a great performance, producers and directors really want to take a chance on somebody who doesn't really believe in themselves.
Yes.
You know?
Well, and Marilyn was always a girl that suffered from a lack of love, and she didn't have confidence in herself, basically, even though she was a great star.
And it's one thing for the public to superimpose an image on you. It's another for that to be your own self-image.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Well,
And I don't think that
Gwen
ever was.
said, I have a great talent. She never said, I am great, which I think is there is a distinction there, because a lot of trouble, especially in the theater and television, is when you become famous, all of a sudden you think, oh, I must be terrific. Everyone's asking my autograph and all that. That can be a handicap. But when you say, oh, now I have a great gift, and this is my talent, but I am me, that's a part of me. And
Name the theater one more time.
yes.
The Provincetown Theater.
And it's called?
Fire of Flowers.
Let's do a couple of quickies here with the man who psychiatrically analyzes films. What a mouthful. Let me show a few of these on the screen. What are we seeing now, Art Ross, and what does that mean
Well,
briefly?
that's a shot from The Wizard of Oz, of course, with Judy and Bert Lahr. The concept of The Wizard of Oz is one that's very interesting because psychiatrically it represents a trip from childhood through adolescence and the pain and the suffering into womanhood. And Judy takes that trip beautifully in the film.
Betty Davis in Now Voyager.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We're going to be showing that in a few weeks at the Fifth Avenue Cinema. And you were referring before to Love Story and the concept of love and can it come back. And we are going to be discussing on that panel, can the love picture, the four-handkerchief picture of the 30s and 40s, the sentimental picture, come back? Will women buy it today? And we're going to be getting into that and discussing that.
Dear departed friend.
One of my all-time favorites, Boris Karloff, a great man, a great gentleman, a great actor. We're going to be doing next week The Bride of Frankenstein, analyzing that aspect, the tremendous amount of violence and sexuality that's contained in the horror pictures and why they work and why they're so popular and have been for 30 or 40 years. That's an interesting one. It's The Last Days of Pompeii, made in 1935. One of the early RKO disaster-type movies. Was the first one with the tremendous special effects that created volcanic explosions and the complete destruction of a society. And I think what it was saying to us psychologically was that we have sinned as a society, and now we're being punished, and this is what happened to the people of Pompeii.
We'll be punished if we don't get off the air right away. Let me give you these final words, and then we'll wave toodaloo. Stay with us. Good day. Mr. Ross moderates and hosts and creates exciting film lectures. Grease, that'll go forever. How many places in the world are you right now?
Oh, gee, well, we've played Mexico for over 2 years. We played.
And Barney Martin will give you 2 weeks off, but then you'll come back to Chicago, right?
Right, yes.
Not the city, but the play.
The play, yes.
That's a nostalgia show. That's a trip down memory lane.
It sure is.
Roxy Hard, and you're
the hard times of the 20s, which there's a correlation in the 70s.
Are you kind of the underdog husband in that?
I'm the yes, right.
Great.
Got personification.
I'm the warm character.
I'll be watching Heather on TV, and we'll be to the
Provincetown Theater for Fire of Flowers.
with Gwen Sumpter, who's great.
Thank you.
Come back whenever you're in the vicinity. Promise?
I
Sit and
promise.
chat. Was the conversation interesting for you today?
Very interesting.
We'll see you
yes.
next time around with a good cast of good people. Have a good day and a good night, and stay well, and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.